We're here with Sean Rowe. Thanks so much for taking the time, man. Really appreciate it. Record has been out for a bit, and we've had some time to live with it. And wow, it's a great record if you're too happy about life. I mean, it's just a really deep and haunting record. Purposeful?
Not at all.
No.
Nope. I was really going for a more Captain Kangaroo vibe with it.
Right.
But, you know, I'm a lot of my early influences happen to be, you know, some of it's dark stuff.
Yeah.
You know. But blues early on has been, you know, a lot of, especially like sonically,
Yeah.
a lot of the things I draw from are like early blues stuff.
Right.
But
it runs the gamut too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just early blues stuff.
Yeah.
There's obviously a Leonard Cohen influence that's
Yeah, sure.
pretty prominent.
Sure.
And Tom Waits probably in there and stuff like that, right?
yeah, I try to, you know, in my writing, approach it in a visceral sense, you know,
Yeah.
and not only incorporate, you know, a kind of a flow to it that for me is what, you know, blues music and raw, like punk music and is about like feeling an emotion, you
Yeah.
know. So matching that with a lyrical aspect that is kind of open-ended, you know,
Yeah.
like a lot of space in it. Yeah.
Aside from the lyrical content, which, you know, to me is the way I felt about it was some solid storytelling. I think there's some
Yeah.
very good messages in your music as well. And I point to American and The Walker and you know, some of this social political stuff that's going on, particularly in your country. I
Yeah.
mean, how politically active are you as an individual?
Well, you know, when I was growing up, and still to this day, I don't side with, I don't affiliate myself with Democratic or Green Party or whatnot, because I think the business of politics itself is so far removed from what I believe reality to be that it doesn't interest me to get involved in it in the sense that I feel like somehow like nationally affiliated with it.
Right.
You know, I make my decisions based on how I feel about the natural world. You know,
Right.
and I've always thought since I was a kid that why is it that religion and politics and food and sex and everything is so fragmented? You know, we are taught in the American school systems, and it's a very Western way of approaching life as if it's these little isolated pieces, you know, that somehow we can develop ourselves within this bubble and not be connected to everything else. And it's a very Western thought process. And, you know, when I write, I try to bring that idea in that for me I strive to be more collective about it.
More holistic,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of and I know that you've spent a lot of time studying the Native American approach to life, and
Yeah.
and that's very Native in its thought, right?
Yeah, it's not only Native American, but I mean in all areas, in all parts of the world, if you go trace it back, you know,
Yeah.
all peoples at one time, you know, they had to live close to nature. That was a part of their whole being, you know.
How important is I was reading and watching some stuff online, and nature seems to play a pretty prominent role in who Sean Rowe is in terms of, you know, being out in the wilderness and living that life. I mean, how active or how much do you do of that on a regular basis?
Well, I mean, as much as I can, you know, I just feel like, you know, city life and day-to-day survival in the business world is not very fulfilling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, I don't think it's a reality. It's a reality that we've created for ourselves, you know, but ultimately it's not, I don't find it to be real because it has no basis in the natural world. If we you know, I know it's a simple concept. I mean, our own survival, we need a few things, like clean water, clean air, you know, and food. Yeah. And all of those things are outside of, you know, everybody needs them. It's a universal concept. So, so my religion is based around those things, you know.
How much writing do you do when you're out in the natural world and uninhibited by the nonsense that takes up so much of our life?
Whenever I can find a stone tablet and some rocks, you know, I write songs.
Let's talk a bit about the music, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And first of all, I'm impressed with not just the songs, but also your playing. Is that something that you spend a lot of time working on and becoming a master of the craft?
Well, just from years of being a solo artist, you know, and kind of envisioning a band in my head, you know. Yeah. And when I started out, I was playing a lot of bars too, a lot of loud venues, you know, where I have to kind of play over a crowd, you know. And after a while, that's just sort of developed into, you know, kind of a fuller sound than you would typically associate with just a guy and a guitar, because I'm sort of I'm hearing that stuff in my head, you know. And it's kind of hard to, in a sense, it's a challenge when you go to play with a band, because when you're in a kind of ensemble arena, you know, it's like you have to really listen and you have to not overplay, you know, to be effective. So that's always a challenge for me. You know?
I assume also that your voice is, you know, the baritone voice is pretty loud, and to accompany any instrument, but specifically an acoustic guitar, I mean, you have to find the right balance between your playing and your singing, right? I mean, your voice is that second instrument that is pretty prominent in the mix. Yeah. So do you find that you have to compensate either by singing louder or by tuning down?
You mean if there's a band in the background?
No, just you in general. I mean, your basic playing. I mean, is it something that you're cognizant of, because you don't necessarily hear yourself at the back of a room when you're playing, but is it something that you're aware of how loud you sing and how loud you play?
Yeah, I think it becomes like a kind of an automatic thing. Yeah. You know, almost like driving or riding a bike or something, you know, you just don't really think about it. Yeah.
Magic's been out for a while, and I assume we just heard a new song. You're always writing, obviously. Is there plans for a second record or an EP soon?
Sure. I've written a lot of songs since I recorded Magic, you know, and it's just coming down to now where to go in recording and when to do it, because I have a lot of touring ahead of me.
Yeah. Yeah. So is the plan to tour for more? I guess a singer-songwriter is always on the road, right?
I mean, the goal is to really get out there as much as possible, you know. So right now I'm pretty packed until the summer.
Cool.
You know, so it's exciting. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for stopping by, and thanks for playing, and we'll see you real soon.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Explore Music wears English Laundry apparel.